Are you an entrepreneur that's thinking about starting your next venture in a small town? This video looks at rural entrepreneurship in small town New Zealand. What is the current status? Where is it more likely to succeed? We have developed a small town entrepreneurship indicator that will give you an idea of where you are more likely to succeed as an entrepreneur and can give you an idea as a small town where you can look if you want to grow your ability to attract and keep small town entrepreneurs. The New Zealand Institute for Rural Entrepreneurship used the OECD framework for evaluating entrepreneurship and looking specifically at the pillar to look at the performance of entrepreneurship, which according to that framework is based on economic impact and employment impact. We looked only at the employment impact part of it to get a view of how does entrepreneurship and small businesses that get established in small towns and then continue to grow, how does that impact on employment in small towns, because we know that employment in small towns is often a major issue that small towns are struggling. People are struggling to find work. There aren't that many work opportunities in small towns. So we wanted to know, how does entrepreneurship feature in providing employment in small towns? And when they fail, what is the impact on small towns in New Zealand? We're using that as a first proxy to look at the direction of travel and how strong entrepreneurship already is in New Zealand. What we have here is an analysis that was done from data obtained from Statistics New Zealand. Now, in this particular view, we look at districts and the boundaries of districts. So we do have this information available up to Statistics Area 2 for data, and we've got data from 2010 through to 2019 from Statistics New Zealand. Importantly, I think if you take the average of all the years from 2010 to 2019 and you look only at 2019, I'm pretty sure if you're from any particular district, you can tell the story as to why it's the same or why it's different. But that's not what we are interested in here. We are not trying to understand or make specific statements about what happened in any particular district. We're looking at the map as a whole, and what we can see is there's a very definite increase in activity in small businesses when we look at it from this particular perspective. The impact on employment when young businesses fail are becoming more pronounced in small town New Zealand. They become a more important way in which the economy and employment in small towns actually feature. So the direction of travel in rural New Zealand, an increase in startup businesses. I'm going to share my screen and just do a quick overview of an interactive dashboard that all our business members have got access to. This is the front page, and as you can see on the left-hand side, there's the overall, which is the page that is currently open. Then births and deaths, those are enterprises that start and enterprises that fail. And then we look at trends, and then there's a map just looking at the number of enterprises and the number of employees in the various districts. And then we do what is really important for entrepreneurship, where we make a distinction between age, 5 years and younger as one category, and those more established beyond 5 years. And we compare how many people are losing their jobs as a result of younger businesses that fail as opposed to more established businesses that fail. As you can see here, if we have data for 2010 to 2019, and you can take any selection of that for any of the screens that we have. And then this overall screen is also by region. Once again, you can select all of them, or you can go to a specific one of them and look only at that particular one. I'm not going to go into any detail here, but this is basically just giving an overview of numbers in terms of enterprises in specific industries and employment in specific industries. When we look at the births and deaths of enterprises, and we look at net growth, and we look at the impact on paid employment, it's very important that when we look at these figures that we understand it's paid employment that we are talking about. In other words, if a sole proprietor registered with Statistics New Zealand that one person gets paid a salary, then that will count. Many of the people that's only one-man businesses don't say that they have anybody in employment, in which case this analysis is transparent and does not take it into account. So we're talking about the impact on paid employment in this particular analysis. And it was very purposeful in doing that because we want to look at how entrepreneurship adds value to employment employment in small towns in New Zealand, because employment is one of the big issues, big areas. You can see it opens with Auckland. I mean, how rural can you get? But then you can choose any district, and I'm just going to choose any district to make it a little bit more rural. And then when you are in that particular district, you can open up the what is called by Statistics New Zealand Statistics Area 2, and you can see that it basically breaks down into towns and the areas around towns. And you can choose any one of them if you want to look at only that one in particular. But let's look at the Buller area specifically. And here you can see enterprises, new enterprises that started up was 867, and those who failed was 894. So the net enterprises is negative, and the net employment is also negative for the period between 2010 and 2019. And you get a summary here on the right hand side, and you get a breakdown in terms of the deaths of enterprises, how many of them died in Westport North, and how many new enterprises was established in Westport North for the period of the years that you have chosen. And then you look at what was the impact on employment. 221 people lost their jobs, but 346 got jobs because of new enterprises that were established in that particular area. And then when we go to trends, we have similar choices. We can choose years, but in this instance, we look by industry, and we do not make any distinction in terms of young or older enterprises, just how industries actually perform in specific areas. So you can go down and either by region or by district. Let's do district, and since we are busy with Buller, let's do Buller. It looks at an industry, we use retail, and that gives us the summary then at the top for the whole country. And then you come down and you use the same selection, just as an example, for the Buller district. What you then see is how does the Buller district function in the retail trade in comparison to the trends in the rest of the country? So you can do this by region, you can do this by district. You cannot break it down to statistic area 2 in this particular map. And then we have an overview just of numbers that we put on a map, and that's basically just how many enterprises are there short-lived, which means 0 to 5 years, or more established more than 5 years, gives you the numbers and the impact, how many people are employed in those businesses and how many people are employed in the more established businesses for the various reasons. 2 maps, the numbers per district of young businesses, where are they more prevalent? Darker is more, and the same for more established businesses. And then actually for entrepreneurship perspective, you need to look at this particular, where you do an age analysis, where you look at, once again, Auckland. Let's get away from a city. And since I'm busy with Buller, let's do Buller. You will see the top one doesn't change because it gives you the overview for the whole country. But the bottom one now becomes how many short-lived enterprises failed in Westport North over the period 2010 to 2019 is 87. And what was the impact on employment? 74 people lost their jobs as a result. And how many more established businesses failed? It's 96 over that period, and the impact, 142 people lost employment as a result of that. So here you can actually come down and look at the statistical area 2 in terms of where is the impact. And you can tell that in Buller, it's the failure of more established businesses that significantly more impact on employment loss, except here in Westport North, where there's 74 people, but it's 74 people from 2010 to 2019. As I said before, at any time, you can change the years that you choose, and then, of course, the figures will change accordingly. What you can see from this, and I need to say this again, all our business members have access to this interactive dashboard so they can drill in and look at the areas that they are interested in. What is it useful for? It will give you an indication of where in rural New Zealand younger businesses grow faster and they survive beyond the first 5 years. Why do I say they grow faster? Because this is an analysis looking at paid employment. So for most young businesses that just stay a one-man business, they are not reflected in this. This is businesses that actually pay employment. So you can look at that, you can look at the maps, and you can look at everything and get an idea of where entrepreneurship already makes an impact. You will also notice that the 2 maps that I showed are not on this particular dashboard. That's because we actually looked at 2 separate analyses from 2 different perspectives. So beyond this dashboard, there's also some other information available, but all business members of the New Zealand Institute for Rural Entrepreneurship has got access to this interactive dashboard. dashboard. This is only one aspect of the benefit of the business members of the New Zealand Institute for Rural Entrepreneurship. You can become part of the New Zealand Institute for Rural Entrepreneurship by becoming a business member. We are constantly looking for those forward-thinking business owners to become part of our membership. If you are one of those businesses that are passionate about growing your own business in a small town and passionate about helping your town to become vibrant and a place where people want to live and work, have a look at our business membership, and the link is there, nziri.net/business, for you to look at the other benefits that business membership will provide you with.